Good morning and welcome into another edition of Let's Bet It. I'm Alex Glaze with Mark Zinno. Zinno, how are we feeling on this Monday morning?
We are feeling sprightly after some late night action on Sunday, getting Iowa to cover against Illinois. And thankfully, the Denver Nuggets had a raucous fourth quarter to push that total with the Pelicans over. So feeling fresh and sprightly this Monday morning, looking to cash some more tickets.
Yes. Iowa covers, but something to keep in mind that the Iowa team, that free throw shooting was pathetic, especially
Man,
down the stretch. I mean,
stretch.
they should have won that game. I mean, they were terrible from the line all game, but especially like in crunch time. I mean, just brutal. So definitely something to keep in mind as we look toward the Big Ten tournament and the NCAA tournament, because you got to be able to trust the kids at the free throw line, right? So something to definitely keep in mind. Something else you got to be able to trust. You got to trust your gut. You got to trust your gut. And Zinno, listen, as Lieutenant Colonel, right? I want to make sure I got that. Lieutenant Colonel.
Soon to be Colonel, yes.
Soon to be Colonel. You have to be able to trust your guys, right? Like that is the base of a successful mission, is being able to trust your guys to be able to handle their task and execute when called upon, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
So even when maybe they've come up short in the past for you for reasons that maybe you're willing to, give the benefit of the doubt for, right? Like you still have to be able to trust your guys, correct?
100%. Sometimes you go back to the well, even if it disappointed you.
You have to. I'm bringing this up because Steven Adams, my guy, our guy, finally comes through, gets over those 3.5 assists for us. Finally, we get a Steven Adams prop to hit after missing on points. I think that was last week, and rebounds last week as well. I mean, some fluke stuff. Some fluke stuff happened, but he comes home last night, even though I got the feeling some fluke stuff was about to happen last night too, because I don't know if you were paying attention. He had 3 assists in the first quarter. I was feeling fantastic. Then he still had 3 assists at halftime. And I was like, okay. Then I see on the ESPN app a 4 pop up in the assist column. I send out a tweet. Yep, play of the day, cashes. Whoop. And then I get someone tweet at me. They take it away. And I look back, and we're back to 3. And I'm like, okay, here we go. And then, we're getting to the closing minutes of the third quarter. I'm still seeing the 3. Then we finally get home. Doesn't matter. Steven Adams, it was always going to be Steven Adams over 3.5 assists. So Steven Adams, my guy, our guy, comes through.
I would say more than trust. This was about you and grit and determination. You were determined to find a Steven Adams prop that finally cashed for you, and I give you credit for that. You are quick to bury guys and put them in your graveyard when they disappoint you, but you seem to allow Steven Adams to be resurrected on multiple occasions, and were determined to cash a Steven Adams prop, so you did, and I congratulate you.
But all this is a good lesson. All disappointments aren't graded the same, right? Will Wade and LSU, the only team and the only coach person in my graveyard was Will Wade and LSU basketball, because of how they've disappointed me throughout this season. And it wasn't just one instance; it was multiple times. So LSU, Will Wade, I will never be betting on them for the remainder of this year, the NCAA tournament.
They may make some noise if they get to the NCAA tournament. Certainly on the bubble right now, but they may.
You're going to trust Will Wade, and okay. Well, I'll keep that in mind as well.
So
it's all about how the disappointment happens. I'm willing to look past some stuff that's maybe out of your control. Steven Adams can't control that he rolled his ankle in the rebounds game. I bet he can't control that John Moran had 52 points, a career day. When I wanted him, I just needed 8 points, and he gave me 6. I can't control those things, so I'm willing to look past that. And I'm glad that my guy came through for me. That's all I got to say.
Yes, I'm proud of you.
All right. Well, on today's show, we're going to talk some more NBA, but before that, we're going to talk some college basketball as we get ready for March Madness. Then we're going to bring on Adam Ronis to talk some NBA, finish things off with our ice picks and our plays of the day. So without further ado, Zinno, let's bet it. And let's start with college basketball. One of the plays that I'm on today that I'm looking at Georgia State, but it's a little juicy, but I'm looking at Georgia State money line just because this time of year, if you're even questioning the points, just take the money line. If the juice isn't too heavy, I believe it's like minus 150 on FanDuel right now. So it's a little juicy, but not unreasonable. Georgia State on the money line, taking on Louisiana tonight in the Sun Belt tournament. And Georgia State's just had a lot of success against this ULL team this year, and it's really not been any of like those fluky reasons you can think of, like a hot shooting night or ULL just playing bad. Georgia State has just been playing stingy defense. They lead the Sun Belt in steals, and they forced 17 turnovers in the February matchup, 20 turnovers in the January matchup, and combined for 24 steals in those two games. So I'm looking at this Georgia State team that has found its rhythm offensively, which they weren't having. They didn't have that in the beginning of the season, and they've kind of just put it all together at the right time. And I just think this is going to be a good showing for Georgia State. I like them to cover, but I'm just going to play it safe probably tonight and go with them on the money line.
Well, this is for the finals, right? This is for a
yes. This is the yeah. I'm saying this is to punch your ticket to the NCAA tournament, where I believe Georgia State, they still have Ron Hunter's car. I mean, it's still like it's in a shadow box, right? Like
right. Yeah.
What is that contraption called? It's not a wheelchair. It was a scooter.
A scooter. Yeah.
Contraption. Yeah. So Georgia State money line. What are your thoughts?
Not a bad play. I mean, the odds have moved quickly on them, given where they were, and this is not a team I think that was expected to win the Sun Belt when this tournament started. So they've certainly been
the season. I think they were, and then they had a terrible start to the season.
Yeah,
and then they figured it out.
Sure, and again, I think the experience absolutely helps this team. But again, you get hot at the right time. You talk about. For the big program, 6 games in March. For some of these smaller schools, it's about winning 3 games at the beginning of March just to get a ticket to the dance. And then, you're playing with house money from there on out. So Georgia State riding a high. I don't hate it.
There we go. All right. And you're on my alma mater tonight. And I want you to
Jumped off the page. Jumped off the page.
I want you to sell me on it because I'll tell you why I'm not sure about it in a second. But you sell me on it.
All right. Well, Towson Tigers in the CAA tournament. We are now in the semifinals or the quarterfinals.
Yes.
I forget which one it is. Semifinals. Tigers come in winning 8 in a row, including the first round of the CAA tournament. They are the best defense in the CAA by a considerable margin. They allow just 63 points per game. On top of that, they're the best 3-point shooting team in the CAA, led by Nicholas Timberlake, who's shooting over 41% from beyond the arc. Actually, get a little credit to Delaware. They're the number 2 3-point shooting team in this contest here, or in the CAA. So, they can shoot the 3 as well. But Towson is the best 3-point shooting field goal percentage defense as well. They allow the fewest rebounds in the CAA. Towson is a very complete team on both ends of the floor. They can score. They can defend. This is a short number, laying 5 here. They swept the season series with Delaware, covered 5 in both those games. And so they're more than capable of doing this. And what I really rely on, again, is Towson's defense. And for as good as Delaware's offense is, and they get close to 75 points per game, Delaware gives up 70 points per game. And that's enough for this Towson offense to be able to score. But Towson's defense will put the clamps on Delaware, keep them under 70 here, and they should be able to breeze through this into the CAA finals.
The reason why I have some pause in this one, you brought up the season sweep. I have an issue with that second game in the season sweep, because for those of you who do not know, that game actually originally got paused.
Suspended.
Back in January. Suspended back in January. In the second half, because whatever cleaning agent they were using on the floor at CQ Arena at Towson, it was so slippery they could not continue the game. Everyone just kept slipping, and it was. I mean, I've never heard of a game getting suspended because of that reason. But Delaware was up 9 points with 18:42 left in the second half, and then ended up losing by 12 points. So, I mean, when the game resumed almost a month later. So, it's tough for me to take anything away from that matchup. I just think that's a little sketchy. Isn't that sketchy to you when you look at?
What's more important is they won the game at Delaware on the road. And they held Delaware, I think, to 63 points in that game. I can look at the one sample size, and Towson, again, riding a hot streak of 8 games in a row. Let's just call it 7 if you don't want to count the makeup game, right? They win their first round game handily in the conference tournament. This is a spot here where Towson just takes advantage of a team that's inferior to them. And again, it's Delaware's defense to me.
For as hot as Towson, but for as hot as Towson has been, and we've seen some big numbers with Towson, doesn't it also jump off the page to you that this game is only 5, that the number is only 5? and the Delaware is the 5 seed, I believe, in the tournament, correct? So the number just doesn't seem right for all the reasons you're saying. It seems like it should be a bigger number, which is also kind of sketchy to me.
Sure, I get the pause on that, but I'm going to rely on the track record and the numbers that they've played to all year long. And again, the familiarity with seeing this team just a couple of days ago to finish out the regular season and that the resumption of that suspended game, I think favors Towson. I think it absolutely does. It's not, if they had played that back to back in January, I might have a little bit more of a pause here that Delaware might have an edge, but they just saw them. Just pick them apart in, basically essentially a half a basketball. I think there's carryover for that for Towson. And again, outside of the quirkiness of that game being suspended and resumed, Towson is the better team here, and I can trust that.
Okay, well, just saying, if you want to play it safe, a little Towson money line, Georgia State money line parlay plus 139. Just saying, if you want to play it safe, don't want to sweat it out. I can see that happening. All right, let's switch gears and bring in Adam Ronis to talk some NBA as we get ready for the final stretch of this NBA season. Adam Ronis, senior fantasy and betting analyst for Fantasy Alarm and Pickswise. Adam, how's it going?
Going well, man. Just enjoying the NBA. I think we had some great games this weekend, and just looking forward to continuing to crush some player props and some lines as well.
Absolutely. All right. I got to ask you before we get into the nitty gritty with you. I don't know how much you know about me and my recent affinity for Steven Adams. He's one of my guys, and a lot of chatter in the chat right now of, hey, if you bet 10 Steven Adams props, one's bound to hit. I was on the assist prop last night. That's a funny comment, actually. 1 for 3, but who's counting? How do you approach that? Like, do you have guys that you key in on that have been successful for you, or that you feel like you have a good feel for them in certain spots and just continue to go back to the well? Or is it really just all situational for you?
No, I think sometimes the books have the lines wrong on some players and you can exploit it. I know Tyrese Maxey's been a guy that I've been looking at a lot lately. Obviously, with the addition of James Harden, it's actually helped him. He's been off the ball more. Obviously, you have to concentrate on Embiid and Harden. So Maxey's been a guy that we've been able to exploit. I mean, mostly all season, DeJounte Murray, whether it's points, rebounds, assists, or rebounds and assists. Recently, I noticed Rudy Gobert's rebound prop has been very low. I wrote him up on Pickswise on Friday, and he burned us. But you have to have convenient amnesia. And you also have to look at what happened in that game. They got blown out. The Pelicans came out, and from the beginning, they were down 30. Gobert had 11 rebounds in 25 minutes. I went right back to it last night. I got it at 12.5 the night before. I know it closed at 13.5, and he had 17. So I'm going to look at that again tonight. I didn't see any early props out yet on the Dallas-Utah game. But, yeah, there's a lot of things that you can look at. I was just looking at Isaiah Stewart. His points, rebounds, assists is 17.5. He's gone over that in 9 straight games. The Pistons are a team that's playing very good basketball, and I don't think people realize it. They've won 5 of 7. They have wins against Boston and Cleveland in there. They're 7.5-point dogs tonight against Atlanta. I like them. That's a big line. Atlanta has been very inconsistent, one of the more disappointing teams. So, yeah, if there's trends that you see that the books are not picking up on and it keeps cashing for you, just keep going with it until it doesn't.
You brought up Maxey. I'm going to talk about him a little bit later because I like him tonight, especially in this matchup against this Bulls team. 12-14 in their last 26 games, in the middle of a 4-game losing streak. Now they're 4th place in the East. Seems like not too long ago we were talking about DeMar DeRozan, possible MVP, leading them to the 1 seed. I don't know if that's going to happen anymore. But just what do you see when you're looking at this Bulls team? Is this just – do they have real issues, or is this just as simple as this is just a team losing steam or going against some really good opponents?
I think they were playing it over their head for sure. I think they're a good team, but I don't think they are one of the top teams in the East all season long. And you could see it reflected in the odds. I know as of a couple of days ago, they were like 6th or 7th to come out of the East. I mean, that goes to show you there's just more confidence in the other teams. They've also had injuries, with Ball being out and Caruso, obviously a really good defender. So I think that's a factor as well. But I don't see this team doing much in the postseason. And I thought that before this losing streak as well. They just don't play great defense either. And that's a problem. In the playoffs, you got to get some stops, and I don't think the Bulls are equipped to do it. So I just don't think they're one of the better teams in the East. Miami's better, Milwaukee's better, Philly's better. So I just think they're coming back to who they really are.
What's your feeling on Memphis in the West continuing to surge? Obviously, they're getting amazing play from Ja Morant, who's inserted himself as a distant, guy in the MVP conversation. But still, is this team capable of being the team that comes out of the West and goes to the NBA Finals?
I didn't think so a couple weeks ago, but I'm beginning to think there's actually a shot. The key with Golden State is they need Draymond Green. I've been saying it for weeks. If they don't have Draymond Green, they're not winning anything. You're seeing it now. They're really struggling. He just means so much to them. Everyone points to Steph Curry and Klay Thompson being the key, but Draymond Green is really the backbone because he makes that defense go. You see the defensive numbers. They're not as good. We know he's not great on offense, but he distributes the ball. He rebounds. So he's the key for them. If they don't have a healthy Draymond Green, I don't think they come out. I still think the Suns are the team, man. They are so impressive. And you're seeing what they're doing without Chris Paul and Booker, almost beating Milwaukee. Somehow Milwaukee covered that line.
And without Cam Johnson, too. Without Cam Johnson in that game, too.
Yeah, Cam Johnson didn't play. You saw what he did against the Knicks the night before, or the buzzer beater there. So this team is just really good. So as long as Chris Paul is healthy, it's kind of difficult not seeing the Suns come out. But the Grizzlies definitely have something. You talked about Morant in the MVP voting. He's probably going to win it in the next year or two. Usually you have to put yourself on the map, and Morant put himself on the map there now. He's competing with guys who have won it before or have come close. So it's going to be really difficult. And he's already gotten to these odds, putting up ridiculous numbers. Now he has to maintain that and get better, which is going to be difficult. But yeah, I mean, this Memphis team could make some noise. I mean, the West, there's not a lot of strong teams out there. Again, to me, Phoenix is the clear-cut team. Golden State obviously will be dangerous if they get Draymond Green back. And I wrote them up before the year as a long shot at plus 2,500. Denver. Now, the key is with Denver, are we going to see Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr.? They keep saying that they'll be back, but, we're getting close to playoff time and we still don't see them. Nikola Jokic obviously has carried this team. Just an amazing performance last night with 30 points between the fourth quarter and overtime, another triple-double. So Denver, to me, could be a dark horse. But I think Memphis does have a shot right now.
You mentioned Denver and Nikola Jokic and the additions of those guys. I still don't know if that's enough, even if you get Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray back to overtake Phoenix. I mean, I like their roster and everything else, but I still don't think this Denver team has what it takes to get over the top. What do those guys bring that really makes a difference for Denver?
Well, we've seen Jamal Murray have some monster games in the postseason. So they have the playoff experience. They've made that run. And Jokic is carrying this team. I mean, they are so shorthanded. It's amazing to me that they're sitting there with a record of 38-26. I know the Western Conference not as good in recent seasons with the Lakers being down, the Clippers without Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. But it's amazing to me that Denver's had this record. They've won 8 of the last 10. So it just gives them 2 reliable scorers, and it takes a little pressure off Jokic. So I just think with the way the West is, that if they can get those guys healthy, they can make a run.
Adam, you were talking a little bit earlier about the MVP race here. With less than 20 games to go, Embiid, the big favorite, minus 120 now on DraftKings. Is there anyone else out there that you see some value on that you're eyeing, or is Embiid the guy?
I mean, I really think if I had a vote, I would go Jokic myself. But you got to understand that there's a narrative to this award, and people vote for it. So you can sit there and break down all the numbers you want. You got to remember, people are voting for this award, and Embiid is well liked. I feel like people want him to win this award. Not saying he doesn't deserve it, but Jokic is putting up similar, if not better, numbers to last year when he won the MVP. He's near the top of almost every metric. Now, we wanted to see, okay, how would Harden impact Embiid? And so far, obviously, the offense has been lighting it up. They've been scoring 120 plus. I know it's only like 4 games, but Embiid has gone under 30 now in 3 consecutive games, 27 against the Knicks and 22 against Cleveland and 22 against Miami without Harden. But if they continue to win and get that 1 seed, it's going to help Embiid. Denver obviously is the 6th seed in the West right now, but they also have a similar record to Philly. But you have to look at what the odds are telling you. And I feel like people want Embiid to win this award. He's got that personality. He's well liked. Again, the numbers do back it up. But man, what Jokic is doing once again. But sometimes it's like, oh, well, Jokic won last year. Let's give it to someone else. Why should we give it to him again? But Jokic has had an amazing year. The one thing you have to worry about with Embiid is, can he finish the season healthy? That's always been a problem for him. He did miss some time earlier this year, but it's hard to not like Embiid right now. Obviously, you're not getting the best number. The time to bet Embiid was like a month and a half, 2 months ago when he was like plus 1,200, somewhere in that range. But I still think Jokic has a shot. After that, I mean, Giannis, the problem is, can Milwaukee get to the top of the East? I mean, he's had a really good year, but again, another guy that's won. And I don't think Morant has enough time to get there.
Adam, break me off some New Orleans Pelicans post All-Star break. Now, I know they lose last night in overtime, but they certainly gave the Denver Nuggets all that they can handle and more. And they're doing it, obviously, without Zion Williamson. The addition of C.J. McCollum has made that offense something completely different, as they're averaging over 120 points per game post All-Star break. Not that I think they're going to make necessarily any noise, but they certainly could beat the Lakers in the play-in tournament.
Yeah, they certainly can, unless LeBron puts up a 50, which he did the other night, but I don't think we can expect that all the time. Yeah, I think that's another team, too, that we talked about the player props earlier. Brandon Ingram's been crushing it on the assist side, points and assists. McCollum has as well. So those are two guys that you can look at. But, yeah, I mean, they're playing very good basketball right now. The problem is, obviously, if they get like a 8 seed, then they got to face Phoenix, and I think that's going to be a big problem.
All right, Adam, I'm going to take you through one play tonight. You tell me what you're thinking about it. You already know what it is. Tyrese Maxey, over 17.5 points. I think this is a great spot for him. Listen, there are two guys that I would consider my guys in the NBA. Steven Adams and Tyrese Maxey. Those are my guys. I just think this is a great spot for Maxey. And, I mean, we don't know what's going to be. I mean, Harden's not on the injury report right now, right? But he's going to play. But I just think this is a great spot for Maxey. 17.5. I still think he's being undervalued. I knew we weren't going to see any more 16.5s. But do you like Maxey tonight to get over that number, even though kind of burned some bettors the other day when he was at 17.5 at even money and only came home with 17?
Yeah, again, sometimes you have to forget what happened. And it's not like he had an awful game. It was also Miami, and Harden didn't play in that game. I mean, they scored 82 points. That's not going to be the case
free throw
tonight.
line in that game. That was the big thing for him. That's where he makes it.
Yeah, I mean, he only got to the free throw line 2 times in the previous games, 9 and 8. I also think his over 1.5 3-pointers is also a good play. Last few games, 3, 5, 4, 3, 2. And, of course, if Harden does play as we expect, he'll get some open looks. And even before Harden got there, he was playing well. He averaged 18.9 points per game in February. But we just seen with Harden there, it just makes things a little bit easier. And they're going against Chicago. I mean, Chicago defensively has been awful. So I think you'll see that Philly offense bounce back tonight, probably put up 120 points like they have. Going against Miami, really good defensive team, and no Harden, and on back-to-back as well, I think really hurt them.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I think that'll do it for us today with the NBA. Adam, really appreciate your time as always and your great analysis. Head over to Pickswise.com and check out all of the hard work that Adam is doing for us. Adam Ronis, thanks again.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks, Adam.
Have a good one. All right. Let's move on to the ice. Zeno, do you have any ice plays tonight? I'm taking the night off from the ice.
Oh, well, I have plenty, and I mean plenty of first period overs to hand out tonight.
First period overs. All right.
First period overs like Christmas morning. Just keep giving me presents. Just keep giving me presents. I love it. Let's start with Florida and Buffalo. The Ice Cats, Panthers, on a 20-5 run to first period overs on the season. They've covered first period overs at 69%. That's best in the NHL, although you're paying a hefty price at minus 174. Toronto and Columbus. Toronto on a 23-7 first period run. They're 62% on the season of the first period over. Columbus above 60% as well. Toronto number 4 in the league first period overs. Another hefty price at minus 180. The real sweet spot tonight for me was going to be my play of the day, but I've pivoted Edmonton and Calgary. Edmonton on a 14-4 first period run. They're number 5 to first period overs in the league. Calgary on a 19-6 run. They are number 6 to first period overs in the league, and a much more amenable price at minus 148. I think you can round robin these, and if you're really feeling frisky, parlay all 3 of them for a plus 310, 3-1 payout when you parlay all 3 first period overs, folks. I mean, it's Christmas. I'm Santa Claus when it comes to first period overs. I'm just giving out gifts everywhere. Just take them.
All right. We got a question in the chat. Ice Cats on the 3-way money line tonight at Buffalo, taking on the Sabres. Oh, my gosh. I don't know.
Not a bad play. Look, Buffalo's not the.
What is it? Minus 185 though on the three-way. I don't know if I can.
It's a lot of juice to
That's
lay.
a little juicy. That's a little juicy.
I mean, look, Florida just had a huge win over Detroit, and they scored 6 goals in the game, for crying out loud. You keep waiting for their offense to slow down, it just doesn't. If you get Bobrovsky in net, I think it's not a bad play because
it's just too juicy for me personally. I think if you're gonna play it, I mean, if you're gonna play it, I would say puck line, but I don't even know if I would do that just because I don't know. I'm not getting a good feeling from the Ice Cats tonight. Three-way money line's a little too juicy for my liking.
Sure.
Personally. All right, let's move on. I think that'll do it. Let's get to plays of the day. I'll start with you. Well, before we get to our plays, what's on the website? We got any 3-star plays up on the site?
I mean, there are tons of 3-star plays on the site today, and trust me, guys, if you follow some of these guys, you are in a good position.
I see one, so don't lie to the people. I see one 3-star play on the site.
Okay, Tyler Mortimer for the NHL, going over 6.5 goals between the Panthers and the Sabres at minus 120. So we just talked a little bit about that game in Florida's offense. Certainly back at, if you're worried about the three-way money line, the over isn't a bad way to go either, because clearly this is a Florida team that's going to score 4 goals in this game, if not 5 on their own. If Buffalo finds the back of the net once or twice, you should be able to get home.
Yeah, I like that. I like that play. What's your play?
All right, I'm going to go to the NBA, and I handicapped this game for the Pickswise website between the 76ers and the Bulls. And you know me, I don't really dive much into player props, but I found one last night in doing some research that I really, really like, and that's James Harden over 2.5 threes at plus 110. James Harden has been shooting 59% from the field in the 4 games that he's played. He's shooting 50% from 3. His 4 games, he's made 5, 3, 2, and 2 3-pointers. Now, the 2 and 2, the last 2 games were against the Knicks and Cleveland, 2 top 5 defenses in the NBA. You know what Chicago isn't? A top 5 defense. In fact, they're 27th in the league in 3-point field goal percentage defense. James Harden should be able to knock down 3 threes tonight at home in front of the Philadelphia crowd. I'm getting plus money. I am riding the James Harden train until it crashes or until it stops. But one way or another, I'm back in the beard tonight over 2.5 threes.
All right, you already know where I'm going with this.
Yes, and I want to give you props to this because this is a really smart play. And once you're done, I will add one little nugget that you might not know.
Okay, please do. We're going back to the well with one of my guys, Tyrese Maxey, over 17.5 points tonight. I think you're getting a nice number there for him in a great spot against, like you said, this Bulls defense that is not great. And I think this is a good spot for Maxey, who has been able to take advantage, as Adam Ronis said earlier in the show, of James Harden now taking some of the attention off him, as Maxey is having a great season and putting up great numbers here. He's been able to just shoot free. He's been able to attack the basket, get to the free throw line. He only had 17 points in his last outing, but again, because he wasn't able to get to the free throw line, I like him to be in attack mode tonight and just keep this train rolling. Over 17.5 points, Tyrese Maxey tonight. Love it. Love it. What's your
He only had 17 points because Harden wasn't in the lineup. Tyrese Maxey averaging just under 18 points a game for the season. However, the 4 games that he's been in the lineup with James Harden, averaging 26.7 points per game. So
he's been crushing
that play on Tyrese Maxey.
And it's funny because when I think this was before, it wasn't before the Knicks game. Maybe it was the Knicks game. Some of the announcers that were on the ESPN crew were talking about Tyrese Maxey not being able to be that third piece, and they needed to get Tobias Harris involved. Tobias Harris is a great option, but why take the ball out of Maxey's hands right now with the way that he's been playing? I mean, he's been crushing it. Absolutely crushing it. So
and
we're
again,
going back to the well tonight with our guys.
With all the offense that Philadelphia now has with Harden there, I mean, on the Pickswise website, I played the over 230 for this game, and I'm actually laying the 6.5 with Philadelphia with very little hesitation tonight. I know Chicago's coming off 4 straight losses, and you think that they're good enough to snap it, but this Philadelphia team, and again, in the 4 games we've seen with Harden, is just a completely different animal offensively. Combined with how good Philadelphia's defense is. And then, the proof is in the pudding. In the one game where Harden sat against Miami, the offense only scored 82 points. They lose by, what was it? I think it was 17. I think they lost 99-82, whatever it was, some massive number. but he clearly is just giving this offense a completely different look. And until I see otherwise, I'm going to continue to back Harden and the 76ers over because he's had that much of a positive effect.
Love it. Love it. All right. Well, I'm sure we'll be chatting about that game once it tips off. But that'll do it for us today. For Zeno, I am Alex. We will be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Good luck with all your plays tonight.